Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang practice session, where you'll learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief introduction to this practice session. If you direct your attention towards the screen, you'll see the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby you may obtain peace, light, and love in your life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of Satsang, inner Satsang and outer Satsang. An example of outer Satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer Satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but only through the practice of inner Satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The Satsang that you will learn today is an inner Satsang, where we meditate in silence. Group session. These practice sessions are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these practice sessions, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner Satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice Satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, you'll receive a lecture about a Satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you'll be given instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of Satsang experience. He is the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ram Ashram Satsang. He was born into a Satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangees. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm still soaking up the energy from last weekend where we had the Guru Purnima event, or the weekend before. It seems like the last weekend. So today I was just thinking, a while back, I think we had touched the topic of If to get to the top of the pyramid, or where there is the ocean of peace, where light, love, and peace is in abundance, what are the methods to get there? If we look at it, you look at any ideology, you look at any religion, you look at any, even like simple thought processes, because of the personalities, because of the cultures, because of the way people are different, the variations come about, and the variations and variations. So just to get to the land of peace, to the ocean of peace, or, and there are so many names, nirvana, and, I call it like inner peace, and it's enlightenment. But at the end of the day, I think it is, where we feel that we have the light, which is knowledge, and where we have love, which is, in a way, could be devotion, could be, how we are connected with everyone else and nature and beyond, to the entire consciousness. So our consciousness resonating with the rest of the consciousness, that's a state. And then all that then leads to this beyond the upheavals, even keel land of peace. But wisdom, having such, neural networks within ourselves, that we are beyond some of the petty things, some of the things that cause the daily upheaval of emotions, and, filled and unfilled desires. And so, it's like so many things distract us from peace. And the question becomes, what would lead us to the top of the pyramid? And so are there like thousands of ways? Are there, how many ways to get there? And Yuan, would you be able to bring up that slide, or I can talk to it though? Confucius, talked about 3 methods to learn wisdom. And, we have talked about this several times in the past, but not recently, I think. Basically, he provides these 3 categories. And interestingly, Guru Maharaj, my grandfather, who, started this whole unique, and it's unique in many, many, many ways, unique method, which he called the efficient and effective way to get to the top of the pyramid. He also talked about these 3 things, but, in a more traditional way. So by reflection, which is the most noble, by imitation, which is the easiest, and by experience, which is the most bitter. So, and literally, I could say the first one is top-down method. The second one is middle of the ground. Third one is bottom-up. So bottom-up, if you have to do a steep climb, not only it will take time, it will, it will be, it will be a long road. so somehow, you know, there are other two methods. So what happens within the third category, there will be like so many variations in traditional yoga philosophy, karma yoga, hatha yoga, even parts of Ashtanga yoga are, in this, start bottom up and take the long road. The second one is more of bhakti yoga, Raj yoga, where you find someone who has been there, done that, and then you follow their approach, learn from them, and at one point in my high school when I was looking at behavioral psychology. And so one of the books I read started with, the first 5 years in every human being's life, they learn through imitation. So we all have the capability of learning through imitation. Internships, consulting, all this is variations of that. So even if you want to acquire wisdom, yes, you can, read from the books and then experiment with it. Or you can not only read from the books, but learn from people who have implemented it already, and they will give you tips and tricks. Again, you will have to, work on it partly yourself, but, lot of the imitation part is easiest because you might not have to do the trial and error, which is embodied in the third, learning through experience only. And then reflection, which is the most noble, but that Guru Maharaj says, if we were able to, perceive the most abstract things through reflection only, how do we get to that state? And that itself is a process. Vedanta, Sankhya, Buddha Yoga, and all that, Gyan Yoga, fall in that category from a yoga philosophy perspective. But contemplative prayers and, it's also, so Guru Maharaj talked about the middle of the road, where you learn from someone who has, he did that. His guru was, very accomplished, and, very quickly he started him from almost the very top. But then he went through the process, several times, bottom up, but in guidance. And that was like, he said, like the first cycle of going from bottom to the top took him, a couple of years. And then the next time he did that with his guru, it was lesser. The third time he did it was much, much lesser. So it's a process to get to the, top layer of, or call it the top 1%, that wisdom that gives you crystal clear vision, what's your purpose in life, what's where you want to focus your energy. The mindset also gets affected with that, and so on and so forth. So, again, all the variations of how you proceed this spiritual journey to the top could be categorized in these three, and each of these three would have then hundreds, maybe thousands of variations, because my grandfather describes that, we are different people, different personalities, different approach suits us based on, where we are, who we are, and how we perceive things. But the perception then keeps changing as we progress. And so what he did was kind of took parts of each of these in his approach. Primarily the second approach by imitation. So even what we will practice now, it's instead of a mantra or chanting or some asanas or pranayams and breathing, physical exercises, etc., he focused on deep, silent meditation on transcendental energy in form of light. So you're observing this energy, which initially we cannot fathom, but it's uplifting, positive energy that we want to manifest, and what we think we become. So we want to become that energy which, not only energizes us and takes us to higher levels, but eventually when we imbibe this energy in real, people around us, the environment around us gets affected by that positive energy as well. And as I was saying, so there is some element of, so you start with music, you try to manifest this energy. So there is some amount of this, experience that you want to build up. And this packaged meditation, then you want to continue, which will then give you higher level of introspection, higher level of reflection, which will also then help you move further. So in that way, all those three categories are kind of mixed in this approach. And I really like this slide, inner yoga as described by Guru Maharaj, my grandfather, and this package that we're talking about, was freely available in northern India in 1930. So it has been practiced. I have seen people really reach uncommon heights through this process. So the limb 5 and 6, so the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga described by Maharishi Patanjali, this one starts with the 4 top meditative limbs: inward orientation, concentration, meditation, and the resulting higher consciousness. So what we have to do when we start the meditation is the first 2, and then that helps you get into the third one, which is the deep silent meditation. And then hopefully, not too far along, you get these states of higher consciousness. So where we start is the inward orientation and object of concentration. So let's get into the practice. So eyes lightly closed and sit in a relaxed posture. Relaxed posture in the sense that, every time the body moves, your mind moves with it. So we want to minimize that. So when we close our eyes, we're focusing inwards, the outward, the sensory input that distracts us. We're closing our eyes to that, and we're focusing inwards. And when we sit still, we also, every time the body moves, the mind moves with it. So that distraction also we're minimizing. And now we want to get to the object of concentration, or what we want to manifest or imagine as we go into our meditation. So that is that we want to manifest transcendental energy in form of light, So feel the presence, feel that we are surrounded by, and, all around us, we have this enormously positive and uplifting transcendental energy, which is in form of light, and that light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are becoming one with this light. And you can, based on your belief, you can imagine the light coming from Mary, Christ, Krishna. It's just, a consciousness which also, is in form of energy. And this energy is emitting the light that's entering our heart, and that light is distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. We're becoming the energy. So mind will wander away. If it wanders away, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that we're surrounded by this transcendental energy in form of light. That light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are becoming, completely and totally immersed in this light. We'll start with music to help the concentration, and then the music will fade away, and we'll go into deep silent meditation on transcendental energy. And then we will transition out with music again, followed by some discussions on, these concepts. All right, so we'll start now. So happy Tuesday, everyone. One of those sessions where, after the session, when I have to speak, I feel I'm breaking the silence, not just the silence, but I don't know how to, it was such a deep meditation. Anything speaking also is to disrupt that kind of thing. So questions? Yeah, good to see 3 videos at least here. Good stuff. So Pam, Marge, Cynthia, just if you could share any comments, questions, or thoughts, how the session went, or so the weekend before, when we had multiple sessions for the Guru Purnima, I was saying that sometimes we undervalue silence. Under the significance of silence in our lives should be a lot more than we make it to be. So, So, Onkar, Shivangi, what's on your mind?
Namaste, Vyaji. Yeah, last weekend was amazing. I mean, that was something, that morning, evening, I think the sessions that we had, I was feeling the effects for several days after. But I think now life has taken over.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I can say that too. It's almost back to, I wouldn't call it square one. Today's session was pretty good. So there's some of that, it's, I think interestingly, it's the level of connection, the level of presence, how much you can store and absorb, how much you can receive, all of that kind of continues to grow as you grow the practice. So, yeah. So, Eddie, let's wrap it up then.
Yes, today you mentioned that the method whereby we obtain wisdom, and you mentioned the different types of satsangs that are available to do that, and the different types of personalities and that are involved in these particular satsangs to help them achieve that. And I just thought in general that what we're doing here is we're saving the soul. So many people are familiar with the term salvation, and in a sense, that's what we're doing, is we're returning the soul back to that ocean of peace from which it came. And the particular method that we're using is a very simple one, and it's an inner satsang. And so, when we think about some of the other outer methods of satsang that we see people practice, this is just an inner aspect of that. And so it has no conflict with it. It actually is supplemental to it. And, when you put them together, then this provides the complete path to return to where the soul originated from. And so I call that salvation. And so that's really what we're doing here. And so, often people look for differences between these different systems and try to find conflict. And there really is no conflict to be found here. It really is about, like Guru Maharaj has done, finding the simplest way to get to where we find that peace that we're looking for. And that's what he's done for us. And I just wanted to make mention of that so that we should remember that we're not in conflict or in opposition with other forms of satsang. It's just that this particular method that we're given, Guru Maharaj put together from different systems that he tried, and he found out that this was the simplest. And that's why we practice it, and that's why we have some good results from it. So, I just wanted to remind everyone that really all of us in this world are striving for the same thing, and this is just an easy method for us to get to the place where everyone is trying to be.
All right. On that note, be with light, love, and peace, and see you all soon. Glad we were here, and hopefully, so Saturday would be the next one. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Sanjiji. Good night, everyone.
Namaste, Bhaiyaji.
Namaskar.
Good night, everyone.
Namaskar.
Pranam, Bhaiyaji.
Namaskar.
प्रणाम भैया जी।
Namaskar.